Marshall just won the Sun Belt Conference title in dominant fashion this past weekend, but chose to let their coach's contract expire due to a disagreement on a buyout. During a time that should be focused on celebration and the projection of the future, instead there are more questions than answers, especially with the transfer portal nowadays. A program that has been known for betting on itself chose to do it again after letting their second coaching contract expire in a row. A program that has been to 20 bowl games since moving to the FBS in 1997 and has 2 FCS national titles will hope things work out once again. This is the rise of Marshall and their questionable decision of letting head coach Charles Huff sign with a conference rival. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who you think comes out on the better side of things, Marshall or Charles Huff, in the comment section below. To understand the state of Marshall football, we need to go back to the Mark Snyder era, an alum of Marshall who started his coaching career with the Thundering Herd in 1988 as a graduate assistant. While things did not go well, going 22-37 under Snyder from 2005 to 2009, they still produced some great players. He helped produce 40 all-conference players, Albert McLean, and running back Ahmad Bradshaw, who went on to win 2 Super Bowls with the New York Giants after being selected in the 7th round of the 2007 NFL Draft. They would never put together a winning season under Snyder, with his best season coming in his last season when the Thundering Herd finished the regular season 6-6 and made the Little Caesars Bowl. Before the game, Snyder would resign as head coach, and Marshall would go on to beat Ohio in the bowl game 21-17 to finish the year 7-6. It would be their first winning season since 2003 under head coach Bob Pruitt, and Snyder helped lead Marshall from their transition from the MAC to the Conference USA, which would be their second conference since transitioning to the FBS after winning the 1996 FCS national title. Snyder was replaced by Doc Holliday, who played college football at West Virginia and rose up the ranks from a graduate assistant to assistant head coach and wide receivers coach from 1979 to 1999 at West Virginia, before taking on the same role at NC State. He then would spend time at Florida under Urban Meyer, serving as their assistant head coach, recruiting coordinator, and safeties coach before returning to West Virginia in 2008. When Rich Rodriguez left to take the Michigan job, Holliday's name was thrown around as a possible head coaching replacement, but would instead be brought in as an associate head coach, tight ends coach, fullback coach, and recruiting coordinator for head coach Bill Stewart. Holliday was a successful coach known as a great recruiter, coaching Corin Robinson, Brian Peterson, and Jericho Cochatry at NC State and helping Florida's secondary develop Reggie Nelson, and as a unit, they finished only allowing 52.3% completion percentage against opposing quarterbacks. He was known as a great recruiter as well after being named a top 25 recruiter by Rivals in 2005. Holliday was named Marshall's head coach on December 17, 2009, earning his first head coaching job after working in college football for 3 decades. While things would not start off great under Holliday, going 5-7 in his first season, they would make the Beef O'Brady Bowl in 2011, and in his second season winning this game to finish 7-6. That was followed by another 5-7 season in 2012, where Marshall would start cruising under Holliday the next few seasons. In 2013, Marshall would finish the regular season 9-3, earning a spot in the Conference USA title game, losing to Rice 41-24, or winning the Military Bowl where they beat Maryland 31-20 to finish the year 10-4, having their first double-digit winning season since 2002. Heading into the 2014 season, there were high expectations for Marshall, as they were projected to win the Conference USA by Athlon, Lindy's, and the Sports News. Phil Steele's college football preview had Marshall ranked number 19 in the preseason rankings, directly ahead of Stanford, UCF, Boise State, Clemson, Florida, and Texas. The Thundering Herd were coming off the 2013 season where they averaged 42.1 points per game and 500.4 yards per game, which would both be ranked top 10 nationally. The Thundering Herd would not disappoint as they started the season off 11-0, blowing almost everybody out by an average score of 44.9 to 16.45, with their closest game of their 11-game win streak coming against UAB, who they beat on the road 23-18, which was their lowest scoring output of the season. It was only the third time a Conference USA team would start 11-0, the other two being Tulane in 1998, who finished 12-0, and Houston in 2011, who started 12-0 as well, but lost in the conference title game to Southern Miss. They would close out the regular season against Western Kentucky, at home losing a heartbreaker in overtime 67-66. The two teams combined for 1,446 total yards and a Conference USA record 133 points. It was the most points allowed by Marshall since they lost to West Virginia 81-0 in 1923. Rakeem Cato finished the game throwing for 417 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, which were the most interceptions he had thrown since his third game of his collegiate career back in 2011. After the game, Cato told the media, "This was my fault. The whole game came down to me being the quarterback of this team. I can't throw 4 interceptions and spot a team 21 points. It can't happen. Just comes down to that. I threw 4 interceptions and that cannot happen for me. The last time I threw 4 interceptions was my freshman year at Ohio. It can't happen. It's as simple as that. This whole game comes down to me. We aren't in this predicament if I don't throw 4 interceptions. It's point blank. Everything that happened today falls on me. We lost today because of me." Marshall also rushed for 291 yards on the day. First-year Western Kentucky head coach Jeff Brom's offense went for 738 total yards against a defense that was only allowing 324.4 yards per game, which was the best in the Conference USA and 14th best in the nation heading into the game. It was their best start to a season since 1999, when they finished the year 13-0. Marshall would beat Louisiana Tech in the conference title game to win their first conference title since they won the MAC in 2002. They would finish the season beating Northern Illinois in the Boca Raton Bowl and finished ranked in the AP Top 25, which was the first time finishing the season ranked since 2002. Led by Cato, who threw for 3,903 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, Marshall finished with the third-ranked offense in the nation, averaging 45.6 points per game, and finished 18th in the points allowed at 21 points per game defensively. Led by quarterback Chase Litton in 2015, Marshall beat Purdue in the season opener before dropping a game to Ohio on the road. They would finish the year 10-3, winning their third straight bowl game, this time the St. Petersburg Bowl, but finished second in the Eastern Division of Conference USA. With Litton returning, there were high hopes for a fourth straight double-digit winning season, but instead Marshall would go 3-9 in 2016, but rebounded with an 8-5 season in 2018 where they won the New Mexico Bowl. They would close out the holiday era making 3 more bowl games, going 2-2 in their last 4 bowl games, and played for the conference title in 2020, losing to UAB 22-13. Holiday's contract expired at the end of the 2020 season, although he was 85-54 as head coach, winning a conference title, playing in 3 conference title games, and going 6-2 in bowl games, only missing 3 bowl games throughout his tenure. His contract would not be renewed. This came after he won the Conference USA Coach of the Year award in 2020, his second time winning the award, and finished as a finalist for the National Coach of the Year award. The decision did not come from the athletic department though, but instead the governor of West Virginia and the university's board of trustees. Holliday would be replaced by Alabama assistant head coach and running back coach Charles Huff, who like Holliday was known as a great recruiter. At 37 years old, Huff was one of the nation's top recruiters and helped develop Saquon Barkley at Penn State and Najee Harris at Alabama. Huff previously worked at Penn State, Western Michigan, Vanderbilt, and Maryland, and for 1 season with the Buffalo Bills. He was coming off a season where he helped Alabama finish 13-0 and win their 6th national title under Nick Saban. Many involved with the program, such as former players, were excited when it came to the hiring of Charles Huff, who brought in 5 5-stars to Alabama and was known as a football junkie. He came from the coaching trees of P.J. Fleck, James Franklin, and Nick Saban, who were all known as big-time head coaches. He had a CEO mindset, and I did a video back in 2022 talking about how he was going to be the next great Group of 5 head coach. While his first season at Marshall would not be an amazing one, as they finished 7-6 losing the New Orleans Bowl, Huff would bring in the best recruiting class in the Conference USA and the 58th best recruiting class in the nation. Following his lone season at Marshall, he quickly became a Power 5 coaching candidate, as he supposedly turned down the Duke head coaching job, was a rumored candidate for the Virginia Tech head coaching job as well. Huff and Marshall put together an impressive season as they would go 9-4, winning the Myrtle Beach Bowl and beating Notre Dame on the road, who was a top 10 team, before a 6-7 season in 2023, where they lost their Frisco Bowl. Heading into the 2024 season, Huff's amazing first recruiting class were now consisting of most of the roster. According to Phil Steele, they were picked to finish second in the Sun Belt East behind App State, the conference they joined in 2022. They returned 10 starters from last year's team and had a workable schedule. They opened up with a 45-3 win over Stony Brook before tough losses to both Virginia Tech and Ohio State on the road. They closed out non-conference play with a 27-20 win over Western Michigan, or opening up conference play against Sun Belt East favorite App State at home. They would beat App State 52-37 before falling to Georgia Southern on the road 24-23, to be sitting at 3-3 on the season. They would proceed to win 7 straight to close out the season, including a double overtime victory over James Madison on the road 35-33 to finish the regular season. They would destroy Louisiana in the conference title game this past Sunday 31-3 to win their first Sun Belt title in school history, and their first conference title since 2014. They earned a bid to play in the Independence Bowl against Army on December 28th, and it looked like Huff was building a strong team down at Marshall. But then shocking news broke. Marshall was not extending Huff's contract that expired at the end of this year. Prior to this season, Huff turned down the opportunity to extend his contract at Marshall because of his steep buyout terms and decided to coach through the deal, essentially betting on himself. He has led the Thundering Herd to high-profile wins at Notre Dame and over Virginia Tech over the past 3 seasons. It was their first time winning 10 games since 2015. Heading into the Sun Belt title game, there were rumors swirling that Huff would be taking the Southern Miss job, who finished year 1-11 and fired head coach Will Hall 7 games into his 4th season. On Sunday, things became official as Huff was named Southern Miss's next head coach. Marshall turned around and hired NC State defensive coordinator Tony Gibson, a West Virginia native who spent 15 years on West Virginia's coaching staff. It was a weird turn of events that was not on my bingo card heading into the season. Huff had Marshall on an upward trajectory, but many expected him to take a bigger job down the road, and Marshall did not want to lose a coach without getting a big buyout in return to find his replacement. Instead, the Thundering Herd will watch their 41-year-old head coach join their conference rival and probably watch a handful of their players join him via the transfer portal. If Huff does manage to rebuild Southern Miss, and Marshall begins to struggle, then the school's decision over a buyout will leave egg on their face. For Huff, he is betting on himself, and if he is able to rebuild the Golden Eagles program, he will earn a bigger job down the road. It's a crazy situation that leaves more questions than answers following Marshall's best season since 2015. Apparently, Marshall did not like the fact Huff was always looking for the next stepping stone, rather than treating Marshall like a prestigious school like they were in the 90s at the FCS level. Apparently, some people did not like how blunt he was about things, treating it like a business. Southern Miss is getting a really good head coach who is known as a damn good recruiter, and it will be interesting to see whether he could turn the Golden Eagles back into a giant killer once again. What do you think? Who does better in the long run, Marshall or Charles Huff? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.